In this video, I want to talk about monitoring spirits. It's a bit self explanatory. Those are spirits who basically monitor you. So, if you think that the baneful practitioner is gaining information on you just by pulling cards and reading in your energy, that's most likely not correct because we all have our auric field, our aura, and our protection. We are basically divinely protected. But, however, when the baneful practitioner wants to gain information on you, where are your soft spots, where they can hit you, what are your protections, how is your life, where is your weakness, right? They cannot always gain that information just like that. It's not as easy as it sounds, right? They cannot just pull the cards or the runes or whatever divination tools that they are using and gain that information, because a lot of the times they're going to have to go through blockages and your protection is going to backfire on that, right? So what they do a lot of the times is that they send monitoring spirits. So, in those spirits, if you're empathic, if you are, extrasensoric, and if you can feel spirits, you might feel watched. So, this is sign number one that you're being watched and there is a monitoring spirit. So, if you, depending on the types of protection or protections that you are using, those spirits are going to manifest in different ways. So, if you have put it protections around your home, you like wards, for example, you are going to see that, for example, they're getting moldy and things are happening. But sometimes the way that those spirits break through is by basically possessing an animal or taking the form of an animal so that they can basically get in, right? Because most of the time, the mistake that people are making is that they make protection that is basically not on all, um, not working in all dimensions, or somehow has boundaries, right? So, for example, you do a word, but this word is somehow only working for spirits that are on the astral plane, right? Or this negative energy that comes in this form gets absorbed by the energy field that this word has created around the spot where you made it. But obviously, or most of the times, people don't make wards against physical monitoring spirits, which means, I know it's a bit confusing, but for example, you can see a lot of flies. Like, I can tell you a story you're not gonna believe about flies in the home. So if you see a lot of flies, which is unusual when you have a clean home, if you see other types of insects, and plus you feel something's wrong, you feel someone's watching you, so this can be a monitoring spirits or a spirit, right? So what you need to do is up your protections and definitely be very specific in your spells, in your prayers, whatever you are doing as a spiritual practice to protect yourself, that all types of information about you can also specify what types of information, if there is something specific that you want to keep a secret, cannot be taken, observed, etc., by monitoring spirits, and that this information cannot leave your home. Which is kind of tricky because in those, if you do that, it's possible to basically lock the spirit within your home, which is not going to be a pleasant experience. But a question that also arises is when people have cats, dogs, etc., can those animals become a portal for such spirits? And unfortunately, the answer is yes. I have experience with this, especially when the practitioner, if, for example, if you're in a magical, in a spiritual warfare, magic war, whatever you want to call it, with with a person, with a magician, like I mean in the 3D material world, and they have been in your home and they have touched your animals, potentially have also their fur, definitely they can energetically abuse that and gain access through your animals. So always also the first line of protection is your pet. Unfortunately, is like that. Like if you are in a magical war or spiritual warfare, whatever, you're the first um, things, well, not things, but you know, the first ones who are going to suffer are your animals. So you need to protect them. You need to also put them in your prayers that they cannot be used for witchcraft, for gaining access to you, for opening portals, and etc. Because this is absolutely possible. And unfortunately, the animals are much easier to control, possess, and yeah, gain control over, so that baneful negative spirit can do specific things. Also, a sign of those spirits is when you do a spell. So this has happened to me. Let's say, for example, you're doing a cleansing, purging, um, purifying, and stuff like that, cord cutting, and then suddenly a big fat spider comes out of nowhere, or another type of insect. So insects in general are manifestation of basically something negative that is happening. So I remember having, now I know, having unsuccessful cord cutting. So whatever the ritual was, whatever happened, a lot of fire, a lot of fireworks, and at the end there were like out of nowhere, out of the blue, and it was an apartment. So this is definitely unusual. I saw like enormous, gigantic black spider right at the end of the spell, and it stayed there for a while, and then it just disappeared. Like I looked everywhere for it, did not find it. So insects are definitely a sign, especially when you're doing spells, when they come out of nowhere and comes to your candle. For example, a fly flies in and goes directly to your cleansing candle out of the blue, windows closed, and you haven't seen fly in your flat or in your house, whatever, right? And suddenly there's a fly on your candle. Trust me, those are manifestations of malevolent um, spirits, monitoring spirits. Not necessarily monitoring, they can also be just evil spirits, negative spirits that came to do something. A lot of the times, it's a sign that they did not achieve what they wanted when you find them dead around a candle. So, this happens a lot. So, this means that something wanted to basically break your spell so that it doesn't work, but it died trying. So, this is a big sign about that. So be careful. Also, cleanse your animals, protect your animals. Be aware of that. And in my experience and the advice that I can give you, if you're performing some type of spell, and then suddenly there are bugs, try to kill them, and just try to get rid of them, and then either start over with your spell or repeat whatever chanting you've been doing, because these negative spirits can definitely influence your workings, your cleansings, your purifying workings, your protection workings. And especially, for example, if you're smudging, if you're cleansing your flat, your house, your home, and then suddenly out of the blue a fly comes in, it's a negative sign. Like, it obviously it's not 100% of the time, it depends. Like, if you have been doing something, you have been having a lot of flies in because you live, I don't know, rural. um but I think you can feel that and you can see the difference. So sometimes it's just weird with the insects. But yeah, so basically the work that monitoring spirits are doing, they are monitoring you, they are gaining information, and then obviously using that information or giving that information to someone or something that needs it. So be aware of that, make protections, and if you have any questions, you may drop them in the comments below and I will gladly do another video. And also, I am available for personal readings on your specific situation. So if you'd like that, you may contact me via email. Have a blessed day and see you in the next video.